It seems Apex is joining the trends of live service games, changing a few things and slapping the number 2 on the end. So, what is Apex 2.0 going to be? When's it going to come out? And is it actually real? Well, the first mention of Apex 2.0 we had was back in October of 2024, when the EA CEO, when asked if Apex 2 would ever come out, said, "The version 2 thing has almost never been as successful as the version 1 thing." Basically telling people that no, Apex 2.0 is not gonna happen. And then, after a few of their games failing and the worst day ever for EA, the EA CEO changed his mind and said, yeah, Apex 2.0 is gonna happen. In fact, exactly what he said was, on a longer term horizon, there will be an even bigger, more meaningful update to the broader game experience, and Apex 2.0 if you will. This will not be the final incarnation of Apex, essentially confirming that Apex 2.0 is going to be a very big update to the game experience. Whenever the CEO talks about the updates that Apex will be getting in 2.0, he always talks about the broader game experience being updated and the game experience. So the changes right now are pretty vague, but a fair amount of live service games like Apex have been getting 2.0s lately, like Hunt, Siege, Overwatch, Warzone, Counter-Strike, and I'm sure there are many more. So let's take a look at these games and see if we can expect any of these changes within Apex. The main change you see in these 2.0 updates for games is a change or an update to the game engine, like Counter-Strike 2 moving onto Source 2, Hunt Showdown having an updated engine, and Siege getting an overhaul and an engine update. And in Apex's case, it's no secret that the limiting factor in Apex is usually the game engine. The game engine's outdated, it's hard to work with, you have to be specially trained for it, and the bar of entry is definitely making it harder for Respawn to develop Apex on this engine. The engine Apex uses is actually the Source engine, yes, that Source engine, which has led a lot of people to suggest that Respawn move Apex onto Source 2, aka the same engine as Half-Life Alyx and Counter-Strike 2, but this is not really possible. You see, the Source engine that Respawn uses is heavily modified. It was a fork of the Portal 2 Source engine, which then they developed Titanfall 1 on, and then they changed the engine more and developed Titanfall 2 on it, and they changed the engine even more and then developed Apex on it. The version of the Source engine they have today is nothing like the current Valve Source engine, so moving Apex onto Source 2 isn't really a thing that can happen. There have been rumors that Respawn are going to move Apex onto Unreal Engine 5, but personally, that is so much work, I don't think Respawn want to undertake that. That will literally require the complete rebuilding of Apex, and I genuinely think the task is that large, it's not possible these days. In my opinion, for the game engine, Respawn kind of have one option, just to focus on it and keep upgrading and developing their engine and refining it to make it easier to develop on. So I would imagine in Apex 2.0 we will see an engine upgrade, which will hopefully make Respawn's development process easier, and maybe a visual change we'll see of an engine upgrade is maybe improved graphics in Apex, like volumetric clouds or weather systems. Maybe they'll do the same thing Hunt did when it got an engine upgrade, where they make a map that perfectly complements the mechanics and the graphics of the engine upgrade. Another thing we should be expecting from Apex 2 are new game modes. Pretty much every time a live service game has slapped a 2 on the end of their name, they've either massively overhauled the existing game mode they have, or added a new game mode. Like, Siege X is getting a new game mode, and Overwatch 2 kind of changed how their core game mode works, and people in Apex have been craving a new game mode for a long time, so hopefully we could see that with Apex 2. Although my most confident prediction for a new addition in Apex Legends 2.0 is going to be community created content being a backbone of the game. EA have recently become really obsessed with adding a way in games where the community can submit and create their own content for the game, like game modes, maps, multipliers, and experiences. EA constantly talk about this in investors calls, they constantly mock up concepts of players creating community content within EA's games like Apex or Battlefield, and even Battlefield 2042 had a mode called Portal, where players were allowed to create their own game modes on any map they wanted to, in any Battlefield era they wanted to, with any multipliers they wanted to, in community created servers. So I would imagine an addition in Apex 2.0 would be a way for players to create community content like maps, modes, and much more, and run their own servers hosting this content within Apex. Essentially exactly what Fortnite does now with the Fortnite experiences, where you can can play player-created maps or player-created modes with your friends. And to be fair, from EA's perspective, it is a really good idea because games like Roblox rarely have updates to the core game, but the game's kept alive by games within the game created by the community. So EA thinks if they can do this for games like Apex or Battlefield, the game will last forever. The community will just create updates for themselves. So I'm pretty certain for Apex 2.0, there will be a big push for community created content and modes. So that begs the question, why did the EA CEO change his mind from saying Apex 2.0 would not happen to saying it was going to happen and the team have started thinking about developing it? Well, it's pretty simple actually. EA didn't realize what they had in Apex Legends, and they took its popularity for granted, because it feels like when the game started declining after season 17, EA just accepted that the game was going to die within the next few years, and they were slowly going to let it down and remove developers from the Apex project and put it onto other successful EA projects. But then, the new EA projects weren't actually successful, including their new live service one, EA FC, which was meant to earn a lot of money. So I think EA kind of realized that Apex is still doing relatively well, and if they put more funding and more effort into it, it can actually be a pretty good game. This is pretty much exactly what Ubisoft did with Siege. They let it slowly die and didn't take the best care of it, and then they were like, actually, all our stuff is failing, this game makes a lot of money, give it a number 2. I honestly think from 2018 to 2020, a load of live service games came out that actually stuck, like Valorant, like Siege, like Fortnite, and then from 2020 to 2025, every live service game that's been released has pretty much died within a week of its release and completely failed. So a lot of companies are realizing they can't just make a new live service game, they've got to grasp at what they've got and create success within the live service games they've got. That's my opinion at least. So when will Apex 2.0 be coming out? Well, the main thing the EA CEO said about its release date was that it would release after Battlefield 6. And as rumors are saying, Battlefield 6 is probably going to come out late 2025, potentially October 2025. So I think this sets up Apex 2.0 for a pretty solid and precise release date. You see, Apex never normally releases big drops of content at the back end of the year. They tend to save it all for the start of the year, around February. There are plenty of examples of this, and Respawn realizes their game is more popular around that time of the year, and their most popular season ever was Season 16, which was an anniversary season that saw a release in February. So I would imagine Apex 2.0 is going to be a thing around February 2026. So realistically, we have under a year to wait, and that gives Respawn plenty of time to cook up some stuff and develop some stuff for it. And I do hope it's worth the Apex 2.0 title. As time's been going on, we have been getting loads and loads of small little hints to Apex 2.0, including the Epic Games Store doing a survey where they ask what upcoming games people are excited for, and one of those games is Apex 2.0, which may confirm the exact title of Apex 2.0 instead of Apex 2 or Apex X or Apex Chapter 2 or something like that. We know at some level Epic Games and Apex do have a relationship, considering that Epic Games took Apex on their store not too long ago. So it isn't much of a surprise that Epic Games might know something about the Apex 2.0 project. Most people are fairly excited about the idea of an Apex 2.0, but they all have the same question: will I keep my cosmetics? And I'm fairly sure there's like 100% chance you keep your cosmetics and they go over to Apex 2.0. And if we're all honest with ourselves, Apex 2.0 isn't going to be a new game. It's probably just going to be a massive overhaul to Apex as it is. It's just going to be like 3-4 seasons in one. So you don't have to worry about losing that crown bit. It's not going anywhere, fellas. But honestly, if Apex can do half of the stuff I hope that can come with Apex 2.0, I'll be happy. I just want to see engine improvements, graphical improvements, and potentially ways for players to submit community created content as actual content to the game. One thing that is for certain though is if there's any updates about it, you're going to hear it from this channel. So subscribe, because many of you aren't subscribed. You probably aren't right now.